back to the Wargrove of Woe. In today's video, we're going to be explaining the Beasts of Chaos Subfactions. The new Beasts of Chaos book is looking to be very powerful, and so I thought I'd like to take a second and look through the various subfactions. Without further ado, let's get started. First up, we have the All Herd. This is the most well-known Great Fray of the Beastmen, besides maybe the Gave Spawn. The All Herd is if you'd like to play very Horde-style armies with a lot of models on the table. Their special ability means that at the end of each Battle Shock phase, you can return D3 plus 3 models to each Gore, Ungore, and Ungore Raider unit you have on the field. This lets you have a lot of model sustain throughout the entire game, and lets you kind of cycle units in and out to return models with rally and disability, meaning you get to play a lot of attrition games with your opponent. It's a very powerful ability if you'd like to run a Horde Beasts of Chaos army. As for their lore, the All Herd is the most massive of the Great Frays, as well as the most belligerent. The All Herd can be found everywhere in the mortal realms except Azir, um, and they have transformed massive swathes of land into blood grounds for their raids and slaughter. So if you lived in the mortal realms and you found a beastman by some unfortunate circumstance, you most likely found an all-herd beastman. Then we have the Gave Spawn. The Gave Spawn, their army wide ability, it's very simple. You can include gibbering congregations in your army. Now, what these are basically souped up Chaos Spawn with a missile profile and some very good unique abilities. For the Gave Spawn unit, they are a unit size of 3 and they cost about 230 points. They have a stat line of 10-inch move, 10 bravery, 5 wounds each, and a 5-up save. Their melee profile is Bizarre Mutations, 1-inch reach, 8 attacks, 3s to hit, 3s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. And their missile profile is Spews of Corruption, 8-inch reach, d6 attacks, 3s to hit, 3s to wound, 1 rend, and 2 damage. Their unique abilities are they give a -1 to enemy attacks within 1 inch of this unit, and they can run and charge. These are fantastic units to debuff the opponent to soften up the attack, so your other squishy units can survive a little bit easier. And honestly, that missile profile is pretty good. Having a pretty alright way to do damage at range, as well as in melee, in addition to your Bizarre Mutations with 2 damage and 1 rend, in combination with all of the other rend that Beasts of Chaos get access to. These can do a lot of damage. Plus the fact that they have a native 10-inch move and run and charge means that they are very fast. Definitely a very good unit. As for the lore of the Gave Spawn, they worship the chaos entity known as Morgor. If you play Total War Warhammer or are familiar with the old world, Morgor is a very old entity and plays a very big part in that. The Gave Spawn seek to reduce everything to a seething primordial sludge, returning to a primordial state from which their god's essence can flow unhindered. To these twisted and mad beasts, the Chaos Spawn are wonderful objects of sacred affinity. This desire and affinity for Chaos Spawn makes other beastmen wary of Gave Spawn, which I found interesting. Moving on to the Dark Walkers, their army-wide ability is at the end of movement phase. You can redeploy Gores, Ungores, or Ungore Raiders if they are wholly within 9 inches of the board edge to another point within 9 inches of the board edge following regular teleport rules. So no redeploying within 9 inches of an enemy unit. This is very powerful if you want to play more of a movement-based game revolving around some of your more frontline units. It gives you a lot of flexibility alongside your regular ambush rules. The Darkwalker Great Fray is made up of predominantly Ungores and some Gores. They are the most mysterious and least understood of all of the Great Frays. They are ambush predators, preferring cruel cunning as opposed to outright aggression. They will surround their prey in the deep, dark parts of the wildlands, cutting off all escape before their wholesale slaughter can begin. Last but not least, we have the Quake Fray. Their army-wide ability is that all of your Cygors get the priest keyword and know the following prayer. It's called Earth Shatter, has a 12-inch reach and a casting value of 3. You pick an objective within range, and each unit within 6 inches of the objective suffers D3 mortal wounds, and when determining the number of models for contesting that objective, you reduce it by half, rounding down. Something to note is that this does not affect Beasts of Chaos units, so you are not going to hurt and debuff your own units when they're standing next to an objective. This is very, very powerful, as the Quake Fray also get access to battle line Gorgons. So this subfaction really incentivizes you to play a monster mash list and reduce the effectiveness of enemy armies contesting objectives against your low model count army. It's a very interesting way to implement a monster style subfaction, something that I am excited to see what people do with it. For their lore, I couldn't find too much on the Quake Fray, but what I did find was rather interesting. Under the banner of the crimson-skinned Cygor known as Uzgat Shatterhoof, the Quake Fray is currently rampaging through Gur, laying waste to civilization in the land of the beast. Overall, a fairly newcomer as it comes to the Great Frays. I believe this is the first mention of the Quake Fray. If I am incorrect in that, please leave a comment down below. Before we end off the episode, I'd like to give thanks to my Patreon supporters. You guys are fantastic, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Extra special thanks to Nick Hoff. If you'd like to join the Patreon, there will be a link in the description below, as well as a link to the Discord channel. If you'd like to join the Discord and hang out with the community over there, I'd love to see you there. Lastly, that was all we have to talk about for the Beasts of Chaos subfaction. Overall, the Beasts of Chaos are a really powerful army, and their new book is very interesting to learn about, and I'm excited to see what different army builds come out of it. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like or a comment, and if you'd like to see more of this type of content in the future, consider subscribing. This has been the War Grove of Woe, and I'll talk to you guys next time.